Dark destinations.
These may be end times, night creature. Why would a few more casualties trouble me?
Because their blood will join yours.
A radio drama anthology.
You are wrong.
How you figure? Every merc on Mongo is hunting you down.
Not you. Your partner. He said I didn't have a ray gun.
Full cast performances set in the haunted corners of the globe.
Darkness is coming for you.
That's the fear that haunts me.
Sleep!
Dark Destinations by Father Malone at weirdingwaymedia.com.
Weirding Way Media.
Welcome back to Midnight Viewing, the horror anthology podcast, where this season we're taking a look at George A. Romero's 1980s series, Tales from the Darkside. I'm Father Malone, and sharing the Midnight View with me are the Projection Booth's Mike White.
Yes.
And the Culture Cast, Chris Stachiw.
I don't know if you know this, but I have a deck of tarot cards here that I would love to share with you.
How apropos, because tonight we're taking a look at 2 episodes from Season 1. They are In the Cards and Anniversary Dinner. In the Cards is Season 1, Episode 12. It originally aired on January 27th, 1985, written by Ted Gershuni, based on a short story by Carol Kuchia-Citrina, and directed by Ted Gershuni. Fun fact about him, married to Mary Woronov. This one stars Dorothy Lynman and Carmen Matthews, and Terry Keane. Carmen Matthews is the little old woman who switches the tarot cards on her. She started in 1950, her acting career. She was on 6 episodes of Alfred Hitchcock and the original Twilight Zone. This is the story of a phony psychic who is gifted or grifted a set of tarot cards that always predict tragedy. What did you think of this one, Chris?
Not to jump ahead, but I'm going to say this the next time you ask me what I think of the next episode. What a bunch of mean episodes of the show we're watching all of a sudden, because the conceit of this episode is interesting. I think it feels beyond hilarious. It's hilariously set-bound in a way that it could have been an on-stage production, to the fact of, we're going to use noises offset. Oh my God, did you hear that car crash outside? I don't know. We talked about this a lot when we did Chronicles from the Crypt, about that show looking set-bound. And this episode of this show is set-bound, boy. It's not. I actually found this episode to be not great, because the way it concludes is just mean-spirited. I don't know. Like, this episode and the next one are both very mean-spirited, but I think this one much more so. So it's very weird. This show normally doesn't get this mean.
What about you, Mike?
I thought it was great seeing one of my favorite members of the Mama's Family cast on here with Dorothy Lynman. Yeah, I agree with Chris. It is very set-bound. I'm okay with it being mean. I'm not exactly sure. I can't remember why Madame Marlena gifts, quote unquote, the cards over to Catherine.
She's taking her clientele away.
Oh, okay.
And she herself has gone through this little process with the tarot cards, because she herself was just letting people hear what they needed to, or wanted to hear.
It's the It Follows of it all.
Very, very It Follows, yeah. I thought it was all right. It didn't really strike me as one thing or another. It really seemed to take a long time before she was upset enough to actually start to investigate and figure out what the hell was going on. Otherwise, it was like, oh, I'm here for a reading. Oh, I can't give you a reading. Oh, why not? Shing, shing. And it's like, okay. That little
the
sound effect whenever the bad cards would come up.
swords crossing. Shit.
Yes.
But you don't have that on speed dial, Father Malone? I was expecting you to tell us the history behind the sound effect we hear a million times in this episode.
That's what I was waiting for.
Yeah, no, I don't want to hear it again, nor do I inflict it upon our listeners. Yeah, that sound is for the Knight of Swords. That's the card that she now has to turn over at the end of everyone's reading. The Knight of Swords is being held responsible for our own impulsive behaviors and accountable for our actions. You're right, Chris. This is a very mean-spirited one because she's given really no chance to make amends for this thing. And you know what? It's actually a little meaner spirited than that because she is given a chance to make amends. Really, all she has to do is pass those cards on to another phony psychic and then walk away. But the problem is she's dumb because at the end of when the first woman comes in to have her cards read, she allows Dorothy Lynman to read with her own cards. And then when her back is turned, she switches them. So she gets a genuine reading from her and then avoids being read with the death deck. Here, Dorothy Lynman switches the cards before she gets her reading, damning herself. That's a weird one because it isn't just necessarily... I would agree with you, Chris, that this was too dark if she had done everything right and then got stabbed in the alley. But she doesn't do everything right. She actually doesn't learn anything by the end.
Yeah, I'm actually, it's not that she dies in the end. It's that just the way she dies. A guy just walks up and stabs her and then walks off.
Yeah.
It's like exit pursued by a bear. Like literally all of a sudden a knife wielding, pantyhosed headed man comes in from stage left, stabs her, and exits stage right. No exaggeration. Go watch the episode. And then we have an extended zoom-in shot of her just dead on the ground with a knife sticking out of her side, and it slowly zooms in on the Knight of Swords. Ooh, I don't know. I just, like, it, to me, like, there's no payoff. It's just, I don't know. This segment or episode, I guess, had really very, very little to say by my approximation.
Yeah, it's very meandering. We get to meet a bunch of her clientele. We don't necessarily need that many. It's like, Mike, we've talked about this on Night Gallery and Twilight Zone a bunch of times. Like, we get the premise quicker than the characters in the show. The characters need to catch up. Visually, they're picking up things way faster than you're writing them. We don't need to see her perform the same feat over and over again. She should know just by putting the deck out every time that card comes up on her own. She tries to burn the deck and it doesn't work. Like, at that point, you call your friend who's a fellow psychic and go, what the fuck is going on with these cards? You don't continue giving readings to everyone who comes to your shop. They're all going to die.
Unless you're doing it to then steal their money. Like, that's what I thought. I thought she was going to start like, oh, I'm going to put my name on your will. And then prove that I killed you with the deck of cards. Like, oh, you can't. But again, if you're like putting your name in their will and then, oh, you're dead. Like, again, I thought that's where it was going. AKA, I gave the episode way too much credit because I thought there was something interesting at the core of this. At the core of it, Dorothy Lynman just dies because, yeah, she's kind of a bad person or more of just an idiot, I guess. Like, she's not smart. I mean, the way the character's written, she's not smart. To Father Malone's point, she literally hands someone a gun and says, put a bullet in it, please. Click, 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 click. Like, what are you doing? It's just so weird to me. I don't know. Like, a lot of these episodes feel like they have something to say. And this one just like, well, you want to see this tarot card reader who's not actually reading cards get her comeuppance? Okay.
If she had been actually smart, she would have sat down at Madame Marlena's and said, I'm going to read yours.
Right.
And started putting the deck out no matter what her complaint be.
But again, that would have been actually putting in some effort into the story. She just goes to her and says, why did you do this? She goes, because I did the same thing you did. And you're a piece of shit just like I was. But I don't have to worry about it anymore because you've got the cards. Like, okay.
I do want to mention Carmen Matthews again here. She's only in like briefly 2 scenes. But in that opening scene when she comes in, there's so much mischief in her eyes and just so much menace just underneath this sweet exterior. Good goddamn, I loved her. She was great in this episode.
And she was fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. It's too bad she's only in 2 scenes because she's pretty good.
I would have liked to have seen an entire battle between these two. Just set it up quick. Like, oh, clearly it's Madame Marlena across the street who's doing this to me.
Psychic. Have some sort of rivalry. I mean, two fighting psychics, I think, would be pretty boss.
Yeah. All right, Tales from Darkside 2.0. Here we come.
Why not? Everybody's into anthologies these days.
Mm-hmm.
As it should be. All right, our next episode is entitled Anniversary Dinner. This is Season 1, Episode 13. It aired originally on December the 2nd, 1984, written by James Houghton. From a story by DJ Pass. Quick word about James Houghton. He became the head writer on The Young and the Restless and wrote, I'm not exaggerating, 1,500 episodes of Young and the Restless over the years. Wow. 1,500 hour-long dramas.
Putting in God's work. Putting in God's work.
This one was directed by John Strisik, starring Alice Ghostley, Mario Raposo, who I'm sure you two fellas, my co-hosts, are very familiar with this man. 6 episodes of Barney Miller. But
yes.
You know he was on 1 episode of 10 Speed and Brown Shoe?
Of course I did.
Well,
and he was on an episode of BJ and the Bear.
Oh,
sure was, but my favorite performance of his is as Kiko in The Monkees, Season 1, Episode 16, Son of a Gypsy. This one also stars Frederica Duke. And it's about an aging empty nest couple who welcome a young woman into their home just as their 25th wedding anniversary feast is approaching. What'd you think of this one, Mike?
Made me hungry. I mean, I've spoken with Frederica Duke in the past. I kind of wanted to eat all the flesh off of her bones, but this really made me want to do that. So this so reminded me of like an old Bugs Bunny cartoon, like the two fighting chefs that are trying to cook Bugs Bunny, and they keep putting him in a bath, quote unquote, and putting carrots and stuff in there. And he's just like, washing and everything. So reminded me of that. I mean, it was ridiculous what they have her get into a giant fucking pot.
That would have been funny. That's what I was waiting for.
Well, they do, don't they? I mean, isn't that the end of it?
No, it's
throwing in all those vegetables.
It's just a hot tub.
Okay.
I wish it was like a giant
throwing in
pot.
the vegetables. I mean, that was hilarious.
Yeah. Her face. Ha ha ha! You're throwing broccoli in with me.
Like, what? Are you that stupid? Yes, that was too funny. Yeah, this one went on for way too long. It's such a simple premise, and they just stretched this out so much. I mean, yeah, Mario Raposo, really like him. Love Alice Ghostley, one of my favorite of Sam's aunts on Bewitched. But yeah, it was like, okay, you got 4 characters here. They don't even need 4. You probably just need 3. And man, oh man, just get through this like a lot faster or do something. It just needed something else. This felt like our common plate felt like a Blackout skit.
What about you, Chris? You're a fan of the Blackout sketches.
Oh, boy, aren't I? One might say I'm the biggest fan. This reminded me of the episode with the grandpa where he just won't stay dead.
Oh,
yes.
The Stubborns.
Yeah, Case of the Stubborns. It reminded me of that because it's like we mentioned on that episode, like how long does this have to go on? It doesn't put a lot of strain, no pun intended, on the plot, but their last names are Colander, guys. Like, fucking come on. If you don't get what's going on the moment you see her get into this giant hot tub and them just like stand around it, I don't know what to tell you, but I love the Wikipedia synopsis for this episode is hilarious. The last line is, unfortunately for Sybil, the couple plan on serving a very revolting dish for the occasion. Revolting? I don't think it's revolting if they're willing to cook a human being. They're clearly not revolted by it. And I'll say, man, that's a lot of food for 2 people.
Mm-hmm.
Way too much food. My God, the leftovers are going to last for months. I hope they have a big enough freezer.
It's a fucking weird episode because, like, again, cannibalism's always weird because you really do have to imagine Mario Raposo eating this woman's, like, limbs because, like, that's what they're saying is going to happen. And it's like, this is pretty mean-spirited even for this show.
Mm-hmm.
But this is funny mean. This is funny, like funnier, I guess, than the last one.
Yeah, this one's dark, but it is more comedic, I think. And Frederica Duke is 30 years old here. And boy, she looks it. This is clearly supposed to be like an 18-year-old girl or something coming in. Like these characters are, like I said at the top, empty nests. Like they're talking about their children through the entire thing. Like their children are gone and they miss their kids. And so this is supposed to be like a replacement. Like I didn't get how old she looked compared to what she should have been. Oh no, it's me. Expectation versus what they delivered. This is a West Coast episode, including a
boy, don't it look it.
Yeah, including a location. They go outside here and we see nature on Tales from the Darkside. That was nice. I did not, for the majority of the episode, was unaware that they were cannibals. I thought they were treading down a path that Tales from the Crypt would many times, which is this weird lecherous triangle.
Oh yeah, sure.
Right?
That'd be now. They'd be like, you want to bang? And be like, they're eating something, but they're not eating. Well, never mind. No, they would be.
And they really lean into it because like there's a moment where the husband is like, "Oh, let me see you in your bathing suit." And,
right.
So like, "Oh, what's the hell's going on here?" And like in the end, he's checking out how much meat is on her, and like all of their conversations about their children end up being, did they even have kids at all? Or are they just referring to all of the children they've eaten over the years? Like those are their kids. I mean, they're in the trophy room, the hidden trophy room / hot tub room. Frederica Duke. You ought to know a little better than to go into the trophy room.
It's hard to feel bad for a character this stupid. It's like the character in the last episode. Like she's dumping vegetables in to the hot tub with you. Do they have to spell it out for you? Like, well, I guess so. I guess so.
Drunk, right? Like that's the excuse they're using. They've gotten her completely drunk. And now, while they're throwing vegetables in, she thinks it's hilarious. It's not that she's like a ditzy moron at the end. I mean, look, you shouldn't have gotten in the hot tub anyway. But I don't think it's quite that. They've at least baked in a little bit of an inebriation thing here. I will say this about Frederica Duke. She reminded me of Karen Black here, which she has a bit of a quality here. But, she's a victim in this episode, and Karen Black is no victim. Even if she is, she'll come back as the aggressor. I was happy about the lecherous trio that we would keep seeing in Tales from the Crypt, which became so boring. Like, I was actually happy when it turned out that they were cannibals. That's the weirdest thing I've ever said.
I was happy when it turned out my neighbor was a cannibal.
Sign it's 1984, socks rolled up over the jeans pant legs. Good God, I don't miss that. Shisha.
Can I mention, and I think we talked about this on Barney Miller, The Life and Times of Captain Barney Miller. Speaking of Mario Recuzzo, he has a great, what does Benicio del Toro say in Fear and Loathing? I'm admiring the shape of your skull. He has a very interesting head, especially when it's viewed from a certain angle. It looks almost like Conehead-esque. I know in Barney Miller, there was one of the shots where it's like, whoa, that's, yeah, but I love how he wears a hat though, because his hat is like 4 feet off the top of his head.
Way up there.
Yeah, it's way up there.
Well, I sent you that image of the mad scientist that was trying to kill Bugs Bunny. Speaking of Bugs Bunny, trying to kill Bugs Bunny, and he had that huge hatchet and stuff. Come here, Mr. Bunny Rabbit. Like, that's so what he looks like to me. He's got this tiny little face and this big head.
Yeah, he looks like he could be a spitting image puppet. Or that
yes.
from England.
Oh boy, yes.
I wish that the episode had more to it, but since the shock is the cannibal of it all, I guess they had to leave it a mystery until the final moment. But I don't know. Go back to the opening question that you asked about this or mentioned this is a blackout sketch. It really is a blackout sketch. And there's nothing to be mined here, because even the secondary twist where it's like their children are just semi-rotten heads in a closet, like, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
It is a bit of a blackout sketch. There's one line in this Alice Ghostley says, "Oh, I love having the children for dinner." Like, that is just the bottom of the New Yorker cartoon. Like,
right.
That's all we needed.
Anytime anyone says for dinner, like in this day and age, like that person's going to try to eat you if they have you over to your house, right?
Oh yeah. I'm having an old friend for dinner.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I don't know. She had every opportunity to leave. I don't know. I was actually expecting there to be the twist too of Mario Recuzzo had killed her like boyfriend. Like, I was thinking maybe that would be the twist, but no, the twist is just they killed her and cooked her and ate her. Like, okay.
And I guess the boyfriend isn't like looking for her at all. Like come back. I guess he wouldn't come back to that house because the old man came out with a shotgun at the beginning. Boy, wasn't that guy a prick? Just makes me like not like her. Like makes me want her to be dinner because she has such terrible taste in men.
True.
Taste, get it? It's another taste.
That one was you were saving that one.
Oh, that was a way homer.
On the way home. On the next episode of Midnight Viewing, we'll be taking a look at 2 episodes from Season 1. Those are Snip Snip and Answer Me. Until next time, what are you working on? Where can people find it, Mike White?
You can find everything that I do, including the Projection Booth podcast, over at weirdingwaymedia.com. Put out a weekly movie show there. Some people like it, other people don't, but give it a shot if you haven't heard it. weirdingwaymedia.com. How about you, Chris?
Yeah, same. You can find all but one thing I do over at weirdingwaymedia.com. That one thing that I do also happens to be something that Mike does as well. And it's over at patreon.com/culturecast sorry, Father Malone, or patreon.com/projection booth, where you can find Rankin' on Bond, which we do once a month with our friend Richard Haddam, where if you can't imagine what we're talking about, the Bond in question is James Bond. And you can find that over on our Patreons, but everything else over at Weirding Way Media. What about you, Father Malone?
I'm also over there at the Weirding Way Media, where you can hear my show Dark Destinations. That's a radio drama I write and produce. And you can hear me on Night Mr. Walters, the Taxi podcast, hosted by HP. Thank you all for joining us here at Midnight Viewing. Until next time, try to enjoy the daylight. Midnight Viewing, the horror anthology podcast, is a proud member of Weirding Way Media. Our theme song was composed by HP with an assist from Donald Rubenstein and Erica Lindsay. If you want to hear these episodes early and commercial-free, become a patron over at patreon.com/Father Malone. Not only are the episodes up early, but we have extended interviews and bonus podcasts where we spotlight the best episodes of horror anthologies from every series. But if you just like the show and want to help, please share it with your friends and give us a rating on your favorite podcatcher. Together we'll keep journeying through the places that are just as real, but not as brightly lit.